This is The Short List. I'm Christina Mendonça. Welcome to your week. I hope you're having a good Memorial Day holiday weekend. It is a time to remember our fallen servicemen and women, and I have a great story to start us off this week. The Short List took a short trip up to Tillamook, Oregon to check out this military museum for Memorial Day. But what's even more interesting than the planes they flew and the equipment they used are the people that fought these wars. I'm going to tell you about one of them. His name is Thomas Kelly. He's from Northern California. He went up in a B-24 bomber in 1944 and never came home. More than 74 years later, his family is finally getting some answers. Madame Curie was playing at the theater on base, and someone had just delivered ice cream to the mess hall. But Lieutenant Thomas Kelly had a mission on this day. Over the skies of Papua New Guinea, Lieutenant Kelly and his crew were aboard the B-24 Heaven Can Wait, the lieutenant in his bombardier position at the front of the aircraft.
Loved it. That was their rush. And they didn't get to do it all the time. You know, they didn't go up on missions every day.
The weather was windy and rainy that day, but Lieutenant Kelly was exactly where he wanted to be. The farm boy from Livermore, who once listed his hobbies as blondes, brunettes, and redheads, was fiercely proud of how he was serving and had thoughts of becoming a pilot when the war was over.
Very much patriotism, very much, this is what I do for my country. Maybe it was because everybody else did it, but it was in him.
Diane Christie of Folsom only recently got to know her uncle.
There was so much pain. He was rarely talked about. Sorry. But my mom could never listen to I'll Be Home for Christmas without crying because he never came back home.
Anti-aircraft fire ended that dream, taking Heaven Can Wait into the ocean and launching a mystery about Lieutenant Kelly's death that his descendants would take on 70 years later.
For me, it started as an interesting puzzle. How much could we find about the circumstances of this crash?
Diane's cousin, Scott Althouse, was the first to become curious. A professor and researcher from Illinois, he drafted the family into the project.
Then when he said he wanted us to go to Memphis to do research because he had all this information he had to gather, we were like, what does it all mean? Like, we had no idea how he was going to put this all together.
We were researching the kinds of databases that any good public library would have access to. And it was really just getting tapped into this network of incredibly gracious strangers all around the world who helped us fill out the pieces, told us where to look for the next steps, and just as a family having perseverance.
When Scott presented his findings to Project Recover, they agreed to take the case. This nonprofit dedicated to finding American MIAs traveled to New Guinea and using the family's research spent weeks looking for the crash site.
When we heard they were going out to Hanta Bay, we were confident that if they couldn't find the plane, it couldn't be found.
After 2 weeks of diving and searching, the final resting place of Heaven Can Wait revealed itself.
All right, here we come in, guys. All right, to your port. Move it in for a minute. I guess the gun was what we thought the gun was. Good copy. We got wreckage in view.
Visual clarification on the wreckage.
Sweet. Emotions just came pouring out. I sobbed, I cried. I talked to my sister, and she's sobbing and crying. We're like, where is this coming from?
The family now hopes that the federal agency that oversees POW and MIA recoveries will prioritize Lieutenant Kelly's case because the portion of the wreck found may encapsulate his body.
We've connected with 7 other families from the crew that we've been in contact with. It took a lot of research to find them, but our family found them. We found 7 of them.
One family's research may fill holes in the lives of 7 families and answer questions that for generations went unanswered when lives were interrupted and families changed by war.
The purpose of Memorial Day is to stop and remember, to remember the lives of those who have been who have given everything in service of our country, and to just stop and to learn something about somebody who died in the war and to carry that memory forward, I think is a way that all of us can honor those who've gone before, who don't get to experience the futures that we get to inhabit because they gave everything.
They bring them home, we'll be there. Wherever it is, wherever they bring them to, our family will be there.
Those were 11 individuals lost on March 11th, 1944.
Let's get to some of my other original content for the week. On Tuesday is my podcast, A Fresh Agenda, where I talk to innovators, entrepreneurs, thought leaders. We'll be talking to this guy. It was such an honor to get to spend some time with Remi Adeleke. He's a former Navy SEAL, a Hollywood actor. He's a producer now of his own projects, and he has a fascinating riches to rags to riches story to tell. You can get all that right now on my website, ChristinaMendonca.com. Just go to the segment that says This Week and Latest Work. And join me every weekday on KFBK News Radio 1530 at 6:23, 8:23, and 5:23 for Christina Mendonca Reports. Thanks for being here. Let's stay connected.